Okay, it's 4:31. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Should we take a verbal roll call?
Kane, aye.
Gasparini, aye.
Fowles here.
Or yeah, here, I guess not aye, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not voting. Kane here, yes.
April West here. Martha. Martha's here.
I can't see.
Oh,
I can't see anybody though.
Can't?
All right, now everyone's coming.
oh, okay.
Good.
Technical difficulties.
We were just discussing that. All right, thanks for everybody for coming. Okay, I have a motion to approve. Let's just see. Anybody popping in from the public?
Not that I've seen.
Okay. All right, so no public is attending. May I have a motion on the minutes from January 5th?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. Any changes or corrections? Anything you
Typos.
saw? Chris is holding up her hands. Yeah.
Oh, darn, Chris.
Well, I think I have a short memory some days, but I don't think we met at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry. I thought I changed that
I do
one.
believe I was there.
Okay. I was still in the previous meeting from the week before. And I copy and pasted and I thought I changed it all, but apparently I changed it below, but not above. Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
That's why you're here, right?
It's really, that's my role in this committee as far as I can figure out.
I don't think so, but
No, you
okay.
have a larger role than that, but that's okay.
Okay.
Any other discussion or changes? Okay, all those in favor? West, aye.
Kane, aye.
Gasparini, aye.
Okay. All right, Martha, you're up. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Janine just called me. She has to have a routine procedure and she had to have a COVID test and they told her she needs to self-quarantine until the procedure, but the procedure is not until Friday. So she will not be in tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
So she was pretty upset about that. And I know, off the top of my head, I know as we start discussing things, I'll have more to add to a report. So.
Okay. While we're on Janine, do you think she ought to be included in these meetings?
No,
No?
unless there's something that pertains to her specifically.
Okay.
Can Janine work at home this week?
She has not the capabilities to do so. We
Okay.
have laptops, but they're sitting locked downstairs. I don't really know what's going on with them. They arrived a month ago, so not really sure what's going on. So no, she cannot.
Okay. Sorry, taking notes.
Yeah, April, maybe
That's
you can
okay.
check with Ed, because I mean, this is, as Martha's boss and Janine's boss, we
Yeah.
need to make it clear, we would like to have them have their laptops. Do you know anything, Chris?
Well, I was just wondering if there may be an
We're
extra
not
one that
the
she
only
could.
one.
No, but I think there might be, you could ask if there was not an extra one that she could have at home, given this situation for these few days, if that would help. But I think there's a plan for the rollout of the computers that we're going to have. We're going to hear about it tomorrow night at Select Board, I believe. The tech committee, I don't know if they're involved in that. I wasn't sure if the computers had arrived configured or not. And if they haven't, then that's part of what also will take some time, is to get them all configured so that they can be hooked up. But as far as I know, we're supposed to hear the rollout plan tomorrow night, so we'll know more then. And they arrived, right at the beginning of the month, I think, or December 30th.
So
Okay.
your role is bigger than just to correct my minutes then, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll email Ed about a temporary laptop, Martha. I'll CC you on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
In that same email, Janet, I will let him know the next date and time for our next meeting. So he can't say that he wasn't warned and given 2 weeks' notice.
Why did he say that?
No, I thought that's what I read in one of his,
No,
when he was setting up the link. That
probably
things
didn't
were
pay
getting
attention.
crowded. Things were
I'll go
getting
back and-
crowded.
I'll read the small print. I missed that.
Okay.
what email?
He sent us an email with the link and the information, so I can post the meeting and stuff.
Got it, yeah.
So this is the first time I've heard he's needed 2 weeks' notice, so I better let him know
I
about my
don't think
next
he
couple.
said 2 weeks, but he said more notice than we were giving him because the time slots were getting full.
Okay. right.
Let's see. Have you gotten any information back on the 2 mailings that you sent out on the Chapter 61, Martha? Not
I have not.
What do we call that?
The checklist, or?
What do you,
Is it a chat?
it's titled, it's a notice of intent with a letter, like a cover letter about the right of first refusal and the intention to sell or lease, and the removal from chapter classification to sell or convert, and the penalty tax.
Okay. So I don't know how the board feels about this, but I kind of feel like it's important enough to send out certified.
I agree.
Yeah.
We should have enough money in the budget to send out a couple certified letters a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. I know budgets are tight, so I just want to make sure.
So the applications have to be submitted every year, is that correct?
Yes.
Could we just attach it, have it as an attachment? You need to submit that you sign off that you've read this and understand it when they submit their request?
Well, the application is different than, I send out over 100 applications to chapter landowners, and it's just so that they can fill out, they do it every year. This is different. This is for, they have to send in their acknowledgement of their rights and responsibilities, so that if they read it, I don't know. I mean, we've all signed stuff and said, yeah, we've read it and signed it. And I think that's what they do. To new applicants, we don't get very many. I highlight key points, but I don't do that for every reoccurring chapter land. So This is if they're looking, or we find that they're looking to change their chapter land in some way, come out, develop it, divide it. So it wouldn't really apply to every single chapter land owner that fills out the application. Does that make sense?
Okay. So
Yeah,
this is,
Darcy, if you've never seen an application, or maybe take sometime we sign them, take a look and see what all the things they have to, that we remind them of on that application. This is
I do have one that you guys will have to sign off on too, so you can look
Okay.
it over. It's a new chapter land application for B, recreation.
okay.
But this intent is not applicable unless they're in that unique situation of making some kind of change.
Right, now, these are the ones that you're finding out like afterwards? Is that correct?
Well,
Yeah, well, we found out they're under
They,
deposit.
yeah, I don't get that information. A lot of times it's, Cindy Palmer heard of one, April hears of it because of the interest in the open space. But if I didn't know you guys, I wouldn't hear about this until maybe I read it in a listing or it actually sells. And then, that has happened. So because you guys are hearing it, I'm able to just notify them. But some people don't know what the buyer is going to do with the land. Cindy's under the impression that the Papalegises want to either conserve it, Papalegises who are selling it want to conserve the land or have it remain in chapter land. It's currently in 61, so they would have to apply to the forester and do all that. But if they want to put it in just open space or recreation, they could do that. They would still have to file an affidavit. But Goulet on Crooked Ledge, who abuts the Papalegises, she split her land. And April, I forget who told me that it was more to divide it for her children in the future. But it could be divided and still stay in chapter land. So she was the second letter I sent out. I have not heard from her. I don't know if anybody's spoken with her. So it was just to bring her attention that, look, you're in chapter land and this is what you need to do if you're going to develop it. But I don't know if she's going to develop it.
Right.
Did we give them any kind of a time frame to respond and return it to you, or?
There is no time frame. If she does not know what she's going to do with the land, or
No.
she doesn't have any intention just to split it, I did not put a time frame.
No, I meant to just acknowledge that she had gotten the letter and was there anything for them to sign to say, yes, I got it, I read it? Or it's just
No.
it's kind of open-ended at that end. So that's part of why we don't.
It is.
We hope that they know that they read it, but we don't know that they did. So
Well,
I was just
it's-
wondering about closing a little loophole there of having them sign or at least email back and say, yep, I got it, I acknowledge reading it or something, so that nobody can say, hey, I didn't know about it. But
Because even if they aren't making changes, isn't that one of the options on the, notice of intent?
It is.
Send out, so we could still
I don't
put
know how
a kind of, please respond within 2 weeks or something, or call me at this number or email me or whatever. I don't know. But I agree with Chris. It's hard to enforce it, but at least we could encourage it.
Yeah, and Darcy, just for your education, Chapter 61 forestry is every 10 years. So they are not doing an application annually.
Okay.
So over, 10 years, you kind of forget what your responsibilities are.
Right.
And the Papalegises forestry plan ended at the end of December, right, Martha?
I think it's this December.
In 2021 or 2020?
2021 or 2020, Martha?
I'd have to look. I thought it was 20, and then I looked and it was 21. I would have to look again.
Okay.
Yeah, I sometimes go in and see if I can find the recorded liens to see the dates on the liens.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it just adds another level of I don't know, seriousness or something at our level, just to say, we just want to make you aware of this and just acknowledge that you received it. And that's all, whether it's, by
That's
signing
why
it.
Yeah, sending it certified gives it
Do that.
weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, talking about how Martha just mentioned this, how do we, because we've got people that, kind of know a little bit more what's going on around town in general, or through their committee work or whatever else, how do we make this more, I don't know, maybe more broadly known in that, not everybody, I mean, most people just renew it year after year after year. It's no big deal. But then there's always those one or two that kind of pop up on the radar screen as a big surprise. So how do we, is there something we should be doing more proactively to also say, it's going to be time to renew again in what, September? Is that our time frame to renew usually? So
October 1st is due, so they go out, yes.
So, with sending out whatever we send out in August or whenever you send it out, is it worth putting just a little half sheet reminder in there saying, just a reminder, if you're planning on changing your use, you need to let us know or something, just so that it stays a little bit more front and center.
Or is that already in the application too?
Oh, is it? Okay.
I don't know. That was a question. It was a question.
Okay.
From
Well, and I
Martha.
think,
I mean, it's all listed in the rights that they have to read.
Right. So if we give them one more sheet of paper to read, whether they'll read that one if they're not reading the application that they're signing.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we
Got
could,
it.
it's just,
Happily just expires at the end of this year.
so
Of
20.
2021.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So logically and essentially, when they go to close, the attorney that's representing the buyer will find a lien on the property.
Yes.
Okay. All right. One other quick question before we head on to other things. The acreage on Lead Mine Road that's been on the market for a long time is owned by a
Yep.
family down in Florida. That's not under chapter, is it?
It is not.
Goes into West.
I just had someone call.
Okay. All right. So that's scheduled to close according to the MLS sometime, I think, this coming month, February.
Yeah, they just called about the MLC.
Okay.
This is the property that's been on the market for a long, long, long time, and it's
Yes.
finally going away? Really?
Yes.
It goes into Westhampton too? Is that the one that? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Any idea what the purpose of develop, is it going to be developed? Or I thought it was all wetlands or something, no?
It's pretty rough with wetlands. So, and I think most of the acreage is in Westhampton, right, Martha? The frontage is in Southampton, but I think most of the acreage is in Westhampton.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I don't know. Darcy,
Curious.
you have any insight on that?
I have no idea on that one,
Okay.
but yeah, I think you're right that most of it's in Westhampton.
Yeah. And from what I understand from Cindy and the planning board is if someone wanted to put a development in, they couldn't start the development in Southampton and go into Westhampton and then come back into Southampton.
They could or they couldn't?
They could not.
They could not.
So that may,
Yeah, there's, the majority of it, looks like it's in Westhampton.
yeah.
Can you see what properties it backs up to, Martha, or no, is that too hard to figure out?
It's, well, I'm on Unimapper because our maps doesn't show the other towns.
Yeah,
So it's,
just curious.
the second parcel going up lead mine. And then there's a 4, 5, 7, 8, 9,
Does it go through?
about nine parcels that it's behind.
I think it goes behind, yeah, a good portion of the lots on Lead Mine. Because I
Yeah.
had sold one and they abutted back to that big parcel.
Number 29, number 29 to 49 Lead Mine Road is behind all those parcels.
And it doesn't connect over to Cold Spring at all?
No, does not.
Yeah, the parcel we're talking about for Southampton is map 6, parcel 6. Oh, it does back up to the Holyoke Beagle Club.
I thought that's across the road, isn't it? No?
It is across the road, but part of this land, 6.39 acres, is on the Holyoke
On that side?
Road. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 6 acres, it's 0.39 acres. I'm reading the wrong numbers. Good, it's not anything anybody can develop.
So is it that little swath in front of
Yeah.
the Beagle Club?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I would assume that the Beagle Club has a right of way through that because I think that's where their driveway is anyway.
Yeah, good question. All right. The other thing that I sent over to Janet so that we can actually see it is the subdivided land that we were talking about at last meeting on Crooked Ledge.
Okay.
So we can actually see what these 20-acre parcels look like.
So is it all three of them?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
One for each kid, according to what everybody's been told.
Okay.
And this is on record at the Registry of Deeds.
And this is, who owns this property? Oh, I see, it's. I'm just trying to, who owns this property? I'm sorry.
Carol Goulet.
Carol-
Carol Day.
I'm just looking for a name. I know it's here somewhere.
Yeah, Carol's house is the,
I see, that's where Scott and Lori are over here.
yeah. And Carol's house is the one in the middle there. Which one is that one?
Rectangular, yeah.
Yeah,
Those are two very crazy lots that are getting divided there. My goodness.
yeah. I talked to Cindy about the 80% rule that I thought we had in town, where a building lot couldn't be narrowed any more than 80% of the required frontage for the zoning. And she said that the planning board was not aware of that. Paul Demand, who signed off on this plan, was not aware of that. And I haven't had time to check, so.
So the frontage on this is how much on this one?
I don't know what the zoning calls for, if it's.
175.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So, yeah, we've got 179 or 176 on the lowest. Yeah. And parcel 3 over here, the 22 acres, that is a lot of frontage, but has a lot of wetlands on it, from what I saw on the maps.
Yeah. So which parcel were you thinking was not the 80%? Parcel 2?
Well, they all narrow way down. But maybe that, maybe it's just if it's a minimum sized lot and not something that's way over. Maybe these conform where building envelopes would be. Darcy, do you know anything about that?
No. I have seen some lots though on small parcels, like the ones Boyle did on Hillside Meadow. Those have like some small swaths behind the other house for septic, and it's small. It's like 15 feet.
Right. I mean, we've done some very creative things in this town. Sophie Circle is another one where, because of septic situations, those lots, the septic fields end up in the next door neighbor's backyard kind of thing.
Yep.
So, okay.
So you're talking about the width of the lot, April? Is that what you're talking about in terms of diminishing from the frontage backwards? Is that what you're meaning?
Right. So if the required frontage is 175, then a building lot, a legal building lot, could not be any narrower than 80% of that 175.
Yeah.
But I have to find that in writing someplace, and that may have changed, because that was a while ago now, when I was doing my own subdivision here in town.
Is that from the zoning, the ZBA?
It might be zoning.
Yeah. So that would put it at 140, right?
Yeah, I haven't done the math, but yeah.
Chris has got a mathematical mind.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, this is really not us, but so Martha, when you get a subdivision like this, how are you going to reassess this in coming years?
Well, they won't become actual parcels until next year.
Right. So as of January 1st, 2022, this will be 4 tax bills, right? Carol's primary residence and 3 separate parcels.
Yes.
Okay. And because they all conform to chapter size, then each parcel would need an application, whether it's 61, probably would need to be 61B, right?
They are 61B now. So if she does nothing with them and just splits them, she'll receive 4 tax bills in her name under 61B.
And she would have to do 3 separate applications when the lots are then separated, right?
No, she can fill out 1 application. It has 3 fields for three parcels.
All right. Okay.
And remind me, the minimum for chapter land, is it 5 acres?
5 acres for agricultural and recreation, and 10 for forestry.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, anybody else have any old business? Oh, don't all jump up and throw stuff in.
I don't have anything.
All right, new business. I completely forgot the open space meeting, so I had it on my schedule in the morning, and by the time I got back from a Palmer real estate thing, it was gone out of my head. But I did talk. I did talk to to Cindy and got updated, and there is one parcel that open space is actively trying to work on obtaining for the town. It's a 40-acre landlocked parcel. It's
Right.
on map 12, parcel 10.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, don't mention any names, please.
Yeah, okay.
Map 12, what? I'm sorry, lot
Map
what?
12, parcel 10.
Oh, parcel 10, okay.
Yeah. And this acreage is up off Walcott at the end and abuts other town lands. And the Conservation Commission is kind of excited to see if we might be able to get this.
Great.
And that's my only update. How about you, Chris? Any updates from the Select Board?
No, we've got a meeting tomorrow night, so we'll see what's happening there. But no, nothing relevant, I think, at this point in time for this committee.
Could maybe you share a little bit of discussion about the FY22 budget that the select board had at the last meeting?
That's next on my list.
I know, but I mean, Chris is reporting on the select board, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you had anything I don't know if any decisions were made anyway about.
No, we're just starting the budgeting preparation process. So Ed had sent out some guidelines, I think, to all department heads to look at. Sorry?
I did not get an email.
Because they talked about zero-based budgeting, I guess, but no decision was made.
No, we were just talking about options of, how do we get, some accuracy with it, given that we had, budgets last year, we did the cut across all departments, we can't just kind of start from there and go forward. How do we make it realistic in terms of what people's needs are? So rather than just continuing to build on the previous year's budget, trying to say, okay, if I had this amount, I can run my budget, my department like so. If I don't get it, this is what is going to be lacking, et cetera. So we talked about ways to just have the department heads be a little bit more precise in their budgeting and not just sort of carry on automatically the same things that, maybe they didn't really spend this year. Maybe they can do without it this year or something. So I didn't see the follow-up email. Ed was maybe going to clarify that, but I didn't see a copy of that. I think we'll talk about that tomorrow too, but definitely the budgeting process is starting. And I think we know that, we're not going to have any extra money floating in from the state. So it's going to be an equally tight process like we had last year, I'm sure.
Well, I guess what piqued my curiosity is being an observer and I'm a member of a board that has direct reports, was the discussion about having requesting an override budget.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And I think that one of the things that, as a board that has somebody that reports to them, that I would like to see, I mean, I'm only speaking as one member of the Board of Assessors, is the opportunity to write the salaries in town to try to get them lined up with the proposed recommendation made by the PPPB last year, with the salary ranges being adjusted to meet be more competitive within the communities of our size.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that wasn't really discussed as part of the override budget, but I think if we're going to do an override budget, you have department heads and very talented people in town that are not paid competitively, that if this is an opportunity to include in that override, pass the wage classification that was presented, if the override passes, to then put two budgets together, one with those revised salaries that are more equitable and compared to other communities of our size. So,
yeah, and just to say that Matt Rowland's the one that brought up the idea, just saying, look, guys, we may have to, go and ask for an override this year. We haven't done it in a bit, and when we did it, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
I think
Yeah, I mean, it had been a long time, I guess, since we had done one. But, given the services that we're providing in town, his argument was, we've got to be willing to pay for the services we're getting at, a fair wage and appreciate what we're getting and be willing to pay for it. So that was kind of a discussion point. There was no decision made, but.
So I'm just throwing in my 2 cents as having a person that's employed in town reporting to our board, that I would like the select board to consider taking a look at that and adopting that salary range, wage range, and see if we can get our salaries to a point where, they're competitive.
Yeah, don't disagree. I think the pay scale that I believe they're using now is maybe 4 years old or something.
Well, and that was an old scale that it's 4 years old because it was increased by 2% from the year before that. I mean, it's the adjustment that was done and the study that was done was not going to be made whole by doing 2% increases over the last 4 years. I mean, we're just way under what the grades of the positions are that we have in town and how they
But are you talking about adopting the recommendations in the study that was presented at one point in time?
If that's a correct study, yes.
Okay, there was one that I know Art Lawrence had presented to Select Board.
From the PPP, the one that we paid to do. But I mean, that's been a couple of years, and that was done a couple of years before that. So I don't know. But I think to do a serious review of our wages in town compared to other communities and the fairness of our pay for everybody. I mean, if we're going to do an override, let's try to, correct a lot of things that are that's, again, I didn't speak to April about it. I didn't speak to Darcy about it. Definitely haven't spoken to Martha about it, but that's just my opinion as somebody that I'm speaking for in town.
Got it.
I would second that also. I agree that we should be competitive with towns our size, so our people are happy and want to continue here.
Right. We can't afford to keep losing good talent.
Yeah.
And we will. And then we won't get good talent back, as replacements because we're not competitive.
Right,
so
that's even
well said, Janet. Thank you. I did not have it as eloquently as you have said.
All off the top of my head. But.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to know somebody's watching our select board meetings anyway.
Do I have a choice?
I don't know.
I do have a choice. But I just thought Matt's comment about let's do an override and let's stop trying to chase this ball that we can never catch because things just keep costing more and more and more. And it's not just the services, it's the people and their value. So not that it would pass, but.
Yeah, well, at least we could try.
Try, yep. So Martha, budgets.
Yeah. Martha, you said you didn't get an email from Ed asking for something?
No, I just started looking at it when I saw that it was on the agenda.
I know Joan got something early, a couple weeks ago, I thought, Martha. I didn't get it, but I thought.
Yeah, I didn't get anything. I looked in spam. There's nothing there.
It's probably in cyberspace somewhere.
When are the budgets due?
I heard February 8th.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
That's what I think
Ours is,
the letter said.
I mean, ours is simple. I mean, when you look at it now, you know, we still have things that have not been paid for this fiscal year. So it's not like they're not going to be used. I know for our vision, that's only gone up $303, which I was surprised. I think it usually goes up more than that. We will not need the 8,900 for the quinquennial, but so we don't have to have that, but it needs to be noted that this is something we're going to need 5 years from now. And God forbid Roy retires, then we might have to get more money in our budget for the revaluation.
And we would be looking to talk about that, not in this fiscal year, but in next fiscal year.
No. So
We'll be planning for it.
We could roll that into your salary, Martha, right?
2026. What's that? Wait, what?
Just roll that into your salary.
Well, that's a start.
Could you, though, given, I mean, I don't know what grade your position is graded at, so I'm going to have to look at, and the study.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, based on the study. And if the town doesn't adopt the study, then that's a moot point. But I mean, I guess I would like to see what a fair salary would be for you if we do an override, and we can kind of adjust some of the salaries in town.
Yeah, I have no idea what grade. I mean, I think I'm the same as the accountant, collector, Board of Health, or health agent, but I don't know.
Health director, you mean?
Health director.
And
grade 5, it looks like.
So that's the Council on Aging, the treasurer collector, you, the Board of Health, accountant.
Library, town clerk, building, and health.
Director levels. Okay.
Yep.
So should we do another meeting next week to go over the budget so we can get it to the select board on time?
Chris, is it your understanding that Ed's message said around February 8th, the first round? You're on mute, sorry. You're on mute.
As I talk around. That date sticks in my mind as well, because that's a Monday.
Is that a Monday or a Sunday? That's a Monday?
But 5, 6, 7, yeah. I think
It's a Monday.
I didn't actually see the guidance. In fact, I just sent him a note just to let him know that Martha didn't receive anything. So he may resend it to you, Martha, just for having it. But yeah, that's what I understood was the 8th. So it might be good just to, have a quickie meeting. I mean, I know the budget last year was not terribly complicated, but I think you all have to vote to put it forth. So.
Right. How do people feel about next Tuesday on Groundhog Day, February 2nd? Doing a quick meeting on budget.
Is there any way we could do earlier in the day?
I'm okay with that.
I have my annual at 2 or at 1:30, I think. So sometime between, how much earlier, Darcy?
I mean, I could do 9, 10, 11, 12.
In the morning?
Yeah.
What's that do to your day, Martha?
I'm here.
Would that, would you have enough time to pull together a budget by that time, Martha?
Because I think
Yeah.
he's sending out he was supposed to send out what we proposed last year, not necessarily what was passed, I think.
Right, I have last year's, and I have all visions, what their increases are. Roy doesn't really change because the towns that he's been with for a while, he gives everybody a really good deal compared to some of the other, Vision, because Vision does the same exact thing that he does, but they're super expensive. Maps, Katie will put something together for me. I don't see, I gave up 500 last year, but I don't see any change in needing to raise expenses. Janine, I don't know where that is. I'm not touching the wages for myself or Janine at this point, as far as like putting in a figure.
Can you send us all?
And we don't need.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want me to email you last year's or?
Yes.
That would be great.
And maybe the grade pay scale that you said you found. Grade
Yeah,
5.
I think it would be classification and compensation study by Art Lawrence, November 2019.
Yes.
Okay. I have a paper copy.
Wait a minute.
That hasn't been adopted yet, though. They're
No,
using.
I know it hasn't been. I know.
Okay.
But I guess I'm encouraging the select board to
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought you meant the current one.
adopt it and put it forward as an override. So we have two budgets, the override budget and the non-override budget. And if the override budget passes, we can.
Right. Well, what would be helpful would be to have whatever the current pay scale is at that grade and step, whatever people have been under right now, and then say what the study is proposing so we understand what the difference is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the current, with whatever, and then based on the classification study.
Yeah. It's just easier to have it in one place rather than have to go look for another document somewhere. And I think this year it may not apply so much for this group, but most of the department heads, we're going to be asking for a bit more narrative than what they gave us last year. To really justify what they wanted and why they were proposing what they were proposing. What were they thinking? Not just, obviously they're not pulling figures out of the air, but how were they really, analyzing their needs? So there may be a request to just put a little bit more, couple sentences of narrative. That's all. I
think we did that. I don't know that it ever got to to you guys, quite honestly, but I think Martha had detailed, because we don't have a complicated budget.
Yeah. Well, and this year we have a finance committee, so it'll actually go to the finance committee, whereas last year we had a non-functioning entity. It didn't exist really. So this year we have a brand new finance committee. They're very engaged and they will be looking at all this stuff. So they're new. The more that we can help them understand what we need, what we don't need is going to be helpful.
Right.
For some reason, all my notes that I had explained everything did not show up in the spreadsheet. I don't know if that's, it's, I don't know why. Everything was written out and explained.
Yes,
but
we did do
this
that.
is the same one that's been used year after year. This goes all the way back to 2012 and the budgets. So I'll just send you if hopefully Ed sends me an email, I will just, if it's different, then I will send you this from last year. If it's the same, I will just forward you that budget. Okay. If it just adds 2022 to it.
Okay.
Because this is all historical.
All right. So would 10 o'clock work on Tuesday, the 2nd? Does that work for everybody?
Is it the 2nd or the 26th? Yep. Sorry, I'm a week behind. Yep, 10 o'clock works for me.
That works.
Great. All right.
So I'll post something quickly, and So April, I don't know whether you want me to ask Ed for the in-Zoom info. You want to ask him? Whichever is best. I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to.
I will CC you on the email that I sent to him about the laptop.
Okay.
And just say that we are going to have a morning next Tuesday, the 2nd meeting, and to send you the link so that you can get that signed up. So,
Okay.
okay.
And there's also, if I'm an exempt or non-exempt employee, I don't know what that means. There's one old wage and classification scale. I don't know what I am. Who am I?
I think that, at least from what we just read, aren't we, Darcy, Janet, and I, and Chris, aren't we all exempt employees?
No, I think.
I don't know.
Non-exempt.
Because there's hourly and salary too. So what is?
Yeah, we're not exempt and non-exempt doesn't have to do with the boards. And I think, Chris, I'm gonna go back 12 years. So when I was a non-exempt employee, I believe. Are you looking it up?
Who, me?
No,
Oh,
me.
yeah. Maybe that doesn't apply to anything, but I don't know.
Just, I'm going to take a quick peek and refresh my memory.
I
Non-exempt
have the
employees.
manual.
One of the differences between exempt and non-exempt employees is overtime pay. An exempt employee is not entitled, oh yeah, I was exempt. An exempt employee was not entitled to overtime pay by the Fair Labor Standards Act. Instead, exempt employees are given a salary. So you're not salaried, you're hourly, and you're paid for your extra hours, right?
Yeah, yep.
So
Yeah.
if you are salaried and you got the same amount of money, whether you worked 40 hours or 60 hours,
Right.
that was my life.
So I am not exempt.
You're non-exempt.
I'm not exempt. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, I would agree with that. Sorry. I keep forgetting I muted myself. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I just had to look it up because I always get confused and it's been a while since I've dealt with it, so.
Okay.
So exempt from overtime or non-exempt, you get overtime. Not that it's overtime, but paid for hours outside of the 31 that you work.
Right.
We can make you an exempt employee, given the proper salary.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who else? Let's see. The accountant the accountant has a salary.
Ed, the accountant, probably, the highway department, the chiefs.
But they also have contracts.
Well, I know, but they still are salaried.
Right.
We're just talking about that.
But they can yeah.
They can negotiate differently, but,
They can
and then I think the treasurer and the, probably the clerk are exempt.
They're elected, so they don't get anything. I mean,
Well, they have to be either paid by hour or paid by position, and I think I don't think that Jen and Lucy make overtime. I think they get paid based on
Right.
how long it
But
takes for them to do their job.
Right. So I don't think they get vacation sick time though either.
Yeah,
It's all, I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with that because I don't live in Southampton, so I can't be elected. Yeah, a lot of different roles, makeups.
All right. Any other new business? All right, Martha, you said you had one Chapter 61 application. What else have you got for us?
So it's end of the month time. We have our commitment one for our 2021 motor vehicle excise. I have $16,000 worth, almost $17,000 worth of removals that needs to be signed. The commitment, and I have this written down, Janet,
Okay, thanks, Mark.
that I can give you. So commitment 7 for 2020, commitment 1, the chapter land, it's the property is on East Street and it is recently sold, 156 East Street with the adjacent vacant land. Now that is, those lots are contiguous, so separately they don't have enough acreage, but I did make sure that I just verified you can have enough acreage as long as the parcels are by the same owner and they are contiguous. So I think they're each 4 acres, so it's a total of 6.8 acres that will go into 61B. Recreation, open space. So if you choose to sign off on that, I have the application to approve. I have an abatement application, 2 abatement applications, and 2 veteran exemption applications. So those will all need to be signed. And January's motor vehicle abatements.
Okay.
But nothing has to be notarized, so we don't have to bug Lucy for anything.
No liens, no.
Okay. All right, I will try to pop in tomorrow, Martha. I don't know exactly what my day looks like yet, but
I'm gonna probably
I'll be
make,
here all day.
I'll probably not be able to make it to Wednesday. It's a haircut day for me, which is an all-day affair.
Okay.
I can come in tomorrow.
All right, just text me and, yeah. Just text or call.
cool. Any other business we need to get done today? All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, West, aye.
Kane, aye.
Gasparini, aye.
All right, we can stop the recording.